So, Madam Speaker and members, we have before us here today another tax increase on Minnesotans. We have here before us today over $1 billion tax increase on small business owners and families in the state of Minnesota. We don't have a budget balancing bill, which was portrayed to us. We have a budget deferral bill. This bill does not balance our budget. This bill leaves almost over $4.5 billion of spending unaccounted for in the next 2 years. So Minnesotans are just plain too smart. I trust Minnesotans. They're too smart to buy into this. They're too smart to think that we have balanced the budget just because you say we have. This bill does not balance our budget. This bill does not solve our budget challenges, no matter what you say, no matter who says it. This bill doesn't do it. This bill increases taxes on hardworking Minnesotans who are trying to keep the doors of their homes and their businesses open. So Minnesotans are too smart. They're wondering, why on earth cannot government live within its means? We do. Our families do. Our businesses do. I think Minnesotans would kind of find it interesting that this body is touting that this bill, which doesn't actually balance the budget, is the model of fiscal responsibility, which we've heard over and over again. This bill, which leaves almost over a $4.5 billion debt on Minnesotans in the next couple of years. And that's fiscal responsibility? Add that debt on top of the $40,000 per man, woman, and child of debt they already have from the federal government. Add on that the $6,000 per working person in this state of liability, of unfunded liability for our pensions. And now we have here today over $4.5 billion of unaccounted for spending. Nobody knows where the money is coming from. So this isn't a budget balancing bill. This is a tax increase bill which does not solve our budget challenges. It does not solve our fiscal emergency. It punts. It punts. It puts the decision off for another day. It's the Popeye and Wimpy form of budgeting that has become all too common here in this body, which says, I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. We don't want to make the tough decisions today, so we're going to just put it off for another day and we'll pay you then. But nobody knows where the money's coming from. Representative Knuth, you said that, you know what, we want to keep the promise for the next generation. Well, this bill doesn't even keep it for the next year. The spending that we have done or put forward in this state, we can't even keep the promises of the current spending. You just can't. The math doesn't work. So if we want to keep promises for the next generation, we've got to start totally restructuring and revamping what we do. Government cannot be all things to all people anymore. It just can't. The math doesn't work. So what it means is that we've got to target our spending, make it more effective, and put more value in place for the taxpayers. So this bill is not fiscal responsibility. This bill is a budget deficit in the making, over $4.5 billion of deficit that we're not telling any Minnesotan how we're going to accomplish it. But by the way, we're going to increase taxes on those small business owners and families. So make no mistake, this is a tax increase bill of the finest form. And guess what? At 10 a.m. this morning, it was presented to Minnesota. It's 7:16 p.m. now. Where is transparency and openness in government that Minnesotans expect? They should expect better. They should receive better. 10 a.m. this morning to put a $1 billion tax increase on Minnesotans is unacceptable. So members, let's talk about who actually creates jobs in this state. In the private sector, 78% of all of the new jobs are created by small businesses, by small business people on main streets throughout the entire state. Small businesses. And that's who you're taxing in this bill. 46% 46% of the folks in this new bracket are small business people, farmers. People who run their business income through their personal tax returns are going to be harmed by this bill. And you say, well, why not? They're rich. They're small business people who use that income, who use those earnings to reinvest in their businesses, to create that next job, to keep the doors open. These are small businesses where earnings does not equal cash. On paper does not equal rich. These are people who drive our economic growth and recovery, and your bill will tax them more. Your bill will harm our economic growth in this state. $1 billion tax increase over the next 3 years on Minnesotans, and that's just the start.